welcome back to a new episode of the Frontrunner podcast. My name's Arlen Kayser, and wow, what a 24 hours it's been in the racing world. A trio of South Australians have claimed the ultimate prize, winning the 2025 Melbourne Cup with Half Yours. I'm going to chat about this great moment in a second link, but of course we've also got a massive weekend of racing to look forward to ahead across 3 states. It's all happening, mate. I'm buzzing. How are you?
Yeah, halfway through Cup week, starting to get a little bit jaded, mate, but we'll get there. It certainly has been a big couple of days, and yeah, amazing result at Flemington on Tuesday.
Let's get stuck straight into it because, obviously it's a story that's been told a bit because it's a pretty unique story with, I suppose, how Half Yours came to be in the care of the McAvoys, and obviously the great South Australian connection that is Tony and Calvin and Jamie. But run us through, I suppose, some of the highlights of, what is the Half Yours story.
Yeah, well, I guess there's so many layers to this piece. Obviously, for Tony, only a couple of months ago, gets into the South Australian Racing Hall of Fame. He's already a Cox Plate winning trainer. Now he's a Melbourne Cup and Caulfield Cup winning trainer. So he's got the big three. It's quite amazing to think. Congratulations to him. We know what a great guy he is. And, there's so much, I guess it's a wholesome story, how he wanted Calvin to come into the business. He didn't let him know. He did that at an awards night a couple of years ago, just basically announced, hey, guess what, you're now the co-trainer with me. So for them to get this success already, obviously picked up and moved their operation from South Australia a couple of years ago. That wasn't an easy decision for them.
Yep.
And to do this in the last, few weeks is quite staggering. And then it goes to the story of the horse, up on an online auction. They wanted to buy it for 100. They thought they were getting it for 120. They ended up paying 300. It seems very cheap now.
Yeah.
Hindsight's a very wonderful thing. I guess the layers to it. Jamie Carr, obviously, we could talk all day about Jamie's influence on racing and what she's been able to achieve already in such a short career, but it's just been, I guess, milestone after milestone for her. And I think what yesterday's result did, it probably was the result the Melbourne Cup needed. I feel like it's under a lot of pressure from races, the big money races like the Everest, to, where does it sit in the Australian racing landscape? And I think when you hear a story about this, an Australian bred horse getting the job done, it just it's something we can all relate to. People that are involved, even if you're not, you might have thought about owning a horse. It's not totally unforeseeable that any one of us could have jumped in and bought this horse. So get that result, I think, was massive just for the race itself. Obviously huge for South Australian racing. We'll forever claim these three as ours because they this is where they cut their teeth. We know where Tony's story goes right back to Streaky Bay and the day he got dropped at the front gate of Lindsay Park as an apprentice. So, it's an amazing story, and it was also on the back of one of the better cup rides you see. We see it time and time again in this race. The jockey that's prepared to be patient on the best horse, and then you see him pierce through some gaps that I think often the overhead can make it look a little bit, tighter than what it is. But hey, like Jamie said, you got to be on a good horse that wants to take that gap with you. So Half Yours, what a win, and what a story for racing.
Yeah, it's magnificent. And obviously, Jamie herself, had a really bad fall a few years ago, and it was almost like, will she ever one right again or two get back to her best? And obviously she has. She's put together a hell of a CV.
Absolutely. I can't count how many. I think she's closing in on 20 Group 1 wins now, for sure. And I guess her profile over the journey, she's always one of the first people that everyone wants to say, oh, she's not riding as well as she has been, or especially after that fall, there was always people wanting to get on her case and saying, oh, she's lost it. She's not the same jockey she was. Well, guess what? The last few weeks, she's proven it time and time again that she is an absolute superstar. And well done to Jamie, Calvin and Tony. Yeah,
it's funny. I was doing a bit of stuff for our socials yesterday, and I was looking back to actually an article you wrote when you were at the Tizer in 2017, and it's when she won on Dollar for Dollar on Melbourne Cup Day in 2017, so 8 years ago. And she described it as, the win there with the crowd and everything like that. It was like winning a Melbourne Cup. And then, fast forward 8 years, same combination, and she actually wins one. Yeah,
it's been an amazing, I guess, ride, you'd have to say, from, what she was doing here in Adelaide. Everyone knew she was a gun jockey. She was, beating up or, competing and making the more seasoned jockeys look sort of second rate here at that time. And that's no disrespect to them because... Look, she'd get a lot of good rides, but she just got that exceptional ability, the hands, I think, what it comes down to. Horses clearly run for people like Jamie. Soft hands, they say, is key to it. And, her rise has been remarkable. And, it's going to be interesting to see. There's always with jockeys how long they want to go for, what's their end game, what's their ultimate goal. I feel like she's still at the top of her craft, and it's going to be pretty exciting to see what they do with Half Yours from now. Obviously, he's come a long way in a very short space of time. I think they're already talking Cox Plate next year. Being at Flemington will be where they'll go, and given that Turnbull Stakes run where he ran really well, you look at that and think, he's going to be a horse that will be to reckon with again. Look, he'll have to carry a bit more weight in next year's Melbourne Cup, but there's no reason why he couldn't do it again.
No, it's exciting, and what a wonderful story for the state and, all of those involved.
Always good having winners on Melbourne Cup Day at Flemington, and even better in these colours.
It's one you had picked out a little way back to get a run under the belt at home and then pounce here second up?
Yeah, no, he was always meant to have 2 runs at home, so we've had to think a little bit laterally with the way we trained him. We missed a run with a meeting called off. We had to rely on a lot of the data that we've got on the horse and back in the work we do with them on the heavy sand and back his natural ability to stay. It was a big effort today, though, second up at 2,000, especially with that little bit of juice in the track. He'll know he's done it, but we'll put him away now and set him for the Adelaide Cup.
Another good news story on Melbourne Cup Day, and I thought it might have been the lead piece until well and truly got trumped. But great to see Party Crasher win on Cup Day for Michael Hitmon. It's obviously a horse he's had a lot of time for, and we've spoken to him a couple of times about it, just how unlucky it was in the Queensland Derby earlier this year. But, a remarkable training effort. It's a horse I probably couldn't have backed because it did miss that run with the races called off at Morphettville the other week with lightning. So I had to jump from 1,400 to 2,000 metres and did so easy, and he's said soft to the Adelaide Cup next year.
Yeah, that's exciting. I think that the last line, especially when he said we're going to aim this horse up at the Adelaide Cup, that's huge for the race because you want to see progressive horses coming to the Adelaide Cup. Quite often it's sort of horses that can be at the end of their tether or probably, are at that lesser greater stage where, look, he's going to go that way. As you said, to go from 14 to 2,000, he missed that second run, and that was always a query, for the meeting that was washed out in Adelaide because he wanted to go there third up. But Michael's such a good trainer. You could sense that they pivoted pretty quickly there to know that they wanted to get him to a race like this during Cup week. He's certainly a darn good horse. He's a winner.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what happens in the the next, I guess, few months. Who knows? He could be a horse that could end up in a Melbourne Cup in time.
Well, I was going to say that he's only 4 years old, and it's not often that you kind of see a 4-year-old, target an Adelaide Cup.
Absolutely.
That, and we know it's the same distance as the Melbourne Cup. If he wins that if he wins it or runs really well, it's definitely a race that they could target because he's going to get the trip. Yeah,
clearly a horse that's has been taken along slowly. Going to Queensland, then missing out on even running in the Derby was obviously, not the result they wanted. So he's got so much upside. Yeah, you would think he could be still 12, 18 months away from his best. I just love the fact that he likes winning. And I know you're saying you didn't back him. I think I had to have something on when Mark Zahra was booked. And what a combination. Mark Zahra's having a massive carnival, and Michael just knows how to place them so well. I think every year he takes one over and gets a result. So well done to all involved with Party Crusher.
Yeah, totally. And just to wrap things up, our man Henry Dwyer basically tipped us into different gravy on the podcast about a month ago when it ran in the John Letts Cup here, and always said that this race on Melbourne Cup Day was in his sights. And guess what? Henry delivers.
He's a king. Yeah, that was again astute placement. Great man. Always good with his time with us, Henry, and an absolute gun trainer. I just love the fact that he doesn't try and overtax or throw his horses too far in the deep end. He clearly could have went down a path to a Victoria Derby. That'd be pretty hard to resist when you got a pretty talented staying 3-year-old. And he said, no, take him to Adelaide, run him in that. Henry said yesterday, and I think most agree, he probably should have won that. Had no right to get as close as he did to Freedom Flame in that Hillsmith Stakes. And then, that was it was the win of the day for me. If you
Turn of
exclude
foot,
the Melbourne
yeah.
Cup, it was arrogant, and I can't wait to see what sort of level he can get to, because a bit like Party Crasher, he's sort of really only dipped his toe into where his ability will end up, and you would think probably the ATC Derby path will be his go next year, and you never know, Adelaide might be the backup, but he's an exciting horse, and well done, Henry. He's an absolute astute horseman.
Now, mate, let's have a look at the weekend ahead. But before we do, a couple runners in on Thursday at Flemington in the lucky last, the listed Century Stakes over 1,000 metres. Sir Now and Prairie Flower are down to race. Connor Murtagh, hoping he is all good after that fall yesterday. If so, he'll take the ride on Sir Now and Prairie Flower. Still no jockey book there, but some good South Australian horses in a bit of form heading to Flemington.
Sir Now will go over there and run well. I would have thought from a good gate. I've seen about 4,000 different races over the past 2 days, but I think he drew about 15 or 16, where you'd probably want to be that time of day. Strips fitter for a couple of runs back, and we know his best is certainly good enough to be in the mix. So they'd go over there feeling like he'll run well.
Gate $15.
Yeah. And Prairie Flower, who knows? The lack of jockey makes me think that maybe not.
Yep.
But, as we know, she's always around the mark, and one day she's probably going to knock over a good field. And
I think you said that on my podcast last week when I listened.
I feel like it's just rinse and repeat, push for the same play of last week. But, both horses more than capable of running big races over there.
Now, on to Saturday, as we'll speak to Travis Doudle a bit later on. Race 1, Blandford Baron in the listed Inglis Banner over 1,000 metres. Jamie Mott booked.
Big price for a horse that's got that race experience on his side. We've seen him a couple of times here in Adelaide run. Well, he probably should have won first on debut. He just was probably all new to him and had a little, I guess, thinking straight. The winners obviously goes quite well, and then come out and did the job nicely second start. So they'd go over there with a bit of confidence knowing he's had a couple of runs.
Yeah, $17 and $4 is quite a nice price for a horse with two race starts behind him. Race 3, Clabell, a horse you spoke about last week again with Andy in the listed Fisher Stakes over 1,200 metres. He said probably got a win in him. Zach Spain's booked, but God, this race is tough.
Yeah, 1,200 metre race at Flemington during Cup Week. There's no gimmies. He certainly comes off one of the best runs of his career. It was a super effort the other day, but going to need a few things to go right in a race like this that's loaded with some quality.
Yeah, so in that third race, he's currently a $23 chance, but has to take on horses like Vestas, who's been in good form, Front Page, Nadal, possibly. There's some really good sprinters there.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a race with a bit of class. As you said, Front Page has been around the traps a lot, and we've seen him ran into Goodwood here, I reckon, a couple of years ago. And what's he won? A couple of Kosciuszkos?
Yeah, very good horse. And in the last, race 9, we've potentially got 3 runners. So we've got Wigham from the Trav Doudle stable with Jamie Mott booked. Mount Niseko from the Chris Beag yard with Melbourne Cup winning jockey Jamie Mellon booked, and Rich Dumore from Ros Day's yard with Craig Froggy Newitt booked. It's a benchmark 80 over 1,100 metres.
Yeah, obviously Wigham's got to carry a big weight here and drawn a bit sticky. Mount Niseko is a really interesting horse.
In good form.
Piggy's got this horse absolutely humming. Every time I sort of think, he has to go up and raise the bar again, the horse just does it. And, he's going to be a really interesting watch over there. I just like the fact that they're rolling the dice while he is absolutely airborne. And as Chris said last Saturday, he probably should be undefeated. Rich Dumore probably goes there a little bit out of his class. He's ran well in some okay races. Look, he's a horse we'd all like to have a share, and he's a very talented galloper on his day. But 3 really interesting runners there. Obviously, we know what you get with Wigham. He's got to carry the weight, but Mount Niseko is the one that I reckon he'll run a bit of a race. Yeah,
$23 Mount Niseko with Jamie Mellon booked. Sorry. Same with Rich Dumore, $23, and Wigham, $41. So some big prices for the South Australians in the last there.
No respect for the South Australians.
Zero respect, and we always show them up over there. But the big one is, and Aaron Bain flagged it twice on the podcast a few weeks ago, he's going to take Shady Thinker across to Sydney. In race 4, it's a benchmark 78 over 1,200 metres, and Nash Ruilla's booked, and I reckon it's a massive show.
Yeah, absolutely. This is pretty astute placement, I think, by the stable. As Aaron said a couple of weeks ago, they want to give this horse a trip away, sort of help him mature up. He's only had 4 runs now, and he was so impressive first up from a spell. Clever placement, because I think this is a $160,000 race, maybe 180.
Yep,
I'm
something
guessing.
like that,
yeah, which is crazy money for a benchmark 78. So be really interesting to see how he goes over there. I'm sure he'll run well, and there's a lot to like about Shady Thinker. We think Shady Thinker will be a very good horse in time, so he probably can go very well there in Sydney.
Well, the bookies do too. He's a $3 favourite in that race, but it's fair enough. He's got the runs on the board, 3 wins from 4 starts, and I like the booking of Nash Willer, a jockey who always give your horse a chance.
Absolutely, had a day out on Tuesday, I think, Nash as well, so in form.
On to our Dare to Dream Horse of the Week, and we know that Michael Hickmont had a Cup Day winner on Tuesday just gone with Party Crasher, and you can join a stable that targets their horses for the big days with a horse on daretodream.com.au. Now, they've got a 2-year-old gelding out of 3-time Group 1 winning horse Fierce Impact up on daretodream.com.au. He was a great miler back in the day and took on some of the best middle distance horses of our modern era. Now, the stable loved the trial of his half sister out of Celebrity Appeal, and they felt they needed to have this gelding in their yard. Now, that filly actually debuted today at Kyneton and ran quite well in limited room, so potentially a horse with a family that's got a bit of talent. Now, they picked him up for a great price of $40,000, and you know that the stable are going to give this horse every chance to flourish. So if you want to be involved with a stable who targets those big days, head to daretodream.com.au to find out more about this guy or plenty of other opportunities about horses here in South Australia. Time to welcome in our guest this week. It's trainer Travis Doudle, who's going to bookend the card at Flemington on Saturday with a couple good chances, I reckon. Trav, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
We're all good, mate. Yeah, you must be thrilled to have a big hand during Cup Week. Obviously, kicked off yesterday. Sir Micah went over and I thought ran a very, very good race for a horse that wasn't given much of a chance by those that put the prices out.
Yeah, look, he ran really well. He probably didn't get many favours in the run. I didn't really want him to lead. Jamie didn't have much choice. He just bounced out really quickly, and if you watch the overhead, nothing sort of wanted to go anywhere near him, and he just ended up stuck out in front. It wasn't ideal, but I think he's a better horse than what we saw yesterday. But what we did see yesterday was that he has got a fair bit of ability, and he's gone down by sort of 4 lengths over there in what looks a pretty good race. So yeah, pretty happy with his efforts yesterday.
Absolutely.
Is there a race that you kind of have targeted for him, maybe in the autumn or coming up over the next few months?
Yeah, look, that was probably his target race was yesterday. And I haven't thought much past that, whether he comes home and has another run and then goes out for a spell, and then we might, we've got a few nice races here for him over our carnival. It's still only 3. It just sort of got to work out, does he want to get 14 or a mile, or are we better off keeping him at 1200? So there's plenty of races and options for him in our carnival, but he'll be a much better horse next time around.
Definitely. Now, before we get stuck into Flemington on the weekend, let's have a look at Morphettville. And I think you got 5 runners in on Saturday. But Snow Patrol is a horse first up for you who kind of piqued our interest. You bought him late last month for $9,000 off English Digital. Was a Group 2 winner, earlier last year, beating Southport Tycoon. That form looks pretty good. Looks could be a steal if you can get him fit and firing.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's there's no such thing as a cheap horse, I guess. But look, if it turns out that we can get him sound and healthy, and he brings anywhere near his best form back to South Australia, we're going to have an absolute steal. But he's obviously got a few little issues, and we've got to work through those and make sure he's okay. But looks a nice little starter for him on Saturday. We can just give him a cruise around there. He galloped up nicely yesterday, so I'm really happy with him. And yeah, we'll learn a lot more out of him tomorrow.
And of those 5 runners, is there a horse you're really keen on Saturday at home at Morphettville?
Yeah, look, he's on his work and everything he's done since arriving, there's nothing to sort of suggest that he won't run a big race. You'd love a little bit of cushion in the track, which we've had a lot of rain over the last few days, so hopefully that sort of sticks around and doesn't dry out too much. And look, if that's the case, he's got to be probably one of my better chances on Saturday.
Another good chance you got on Saturday's a newcomer to the stablemate, Tani Treasure, first up, a horse that likes the parks. You've got another one, Tani Territory Gunner of Gawler on Thursday. How did these couple of horses land in your stable? Obviously, Peter Hardacre has stepped back a little bit from the full-time training, but some nice horses to get.
Yeah, a couple of nice horses. Both having their first start in the next couple of days for me. Pete sort of worked them right up and got them nice and fit, and they came to me in good order. We'll learn a lot more about them in the next couple of days. But they look like they'll be, nicely placed here. And if she brings her best form again, she'll be right in the mix on Saturday. But don't know a great deal about her, and I haven't had her for a great period of time. But Rochelle jumped on her yesterday morning and gave her a nice gallop, and she came through it really well. And she liked what she did. So hopefully she can bring that to the race this Saturday.
Now, Flemington's the place to be on Saturday, and you got 2 runners there. Let's kick off in the first with Blandford Baron. Got its maiden out of the way last start and, has run really well in both of its career starts. Can you give the Inglis banner a shake?
I think he can. He's done everything spot on since this whole prep. He's just got better and better. He looks fantastic. He's come through the run really well. Galloped up nicely yesterday. It's a thing. He's got race experience on his side. Got a really good jockey booking, so he ticks a lot of boxes. That he's going to get a nice run there, and I think he should be featuring in the finish. He's a really nice horse. We've seen that he's got a lot of ability. He did it pretty tough last start. It wasn't pretty to watch. Had a tearaway leader, and he had to work hard to stay with it, and he did everything he had to do to win that race. So, no, he's a nice horse, and he's very professional, and that goes a long way with the young ones.
And Wiggum goes back to Melbourne or back to Flemington where he's been successful before, mate. Normally we complain about visitors' draws when they're wide, but you drew low gates with both of these horses. What do you feel there? Is that going to be a disadvantage?
Yeah, you sort of draw the inside, and you're normally happy with that, but it might end up, being a hindrance on Saturday. So Wiggum, really, I like to see him with a lot more clear galloping room and getting out wide and running on. So that's what I'd love him to be doing, but drawing barrier 1's probably not ideal for him. But yeah, we'll just have to have a look and see how we can navigate around that to get him out in clear air. And yeah, they might sort of be coming off the rail a little bit anyway, so he might have enough room to sneak up there and get some clear galloping room.
He was super first up. How's he come through that first up win? And, you obviously would have identified this race a little while ago, I'm tipping.
Yeah, look, this whole prep is going to be in work until the tracks turn bad. But the first sort of grand final for him was the Flemington Carnival, so we've got him into a race there that we're happy with. And even first up was we had to be a little bit patient with him, make sure he was right before he went to the races, and we got the first up win, which is fantastic. But it was all about prepping him for Flemington second up.
Very good. Well, good luck over there, mate. I know it's never easy to win at Flemington, but you've been there, done it before, and let's hope it lightning strikes again this weekend. So busy time of year. Thanks for taking some time out to chat, mate, and good luck over the weekend.
Righto, Link, follow me time. Who's going in the Black Book this week?
It's another Paula Trenwith galloper. Right. Paula's featuring strongly in the Follow Me. She's got a couple of horses that deserve following. The first one is Ginger Sinner, and that's still don't give up on him. I reckon he's going to win a race very soon. But there's a new one that debuted here in Adelaide last week for the stable, Creek, ex-Godolphin galloper. He was purchased along similar lines as Half Yours through that Inglis online auction pathway, and was a really good run. Now, I thought that given the fact that it was caught wide and sort of out the back, he just didn't shirk the task, kept coming late, was beaten under 2 lengths, and I think this is a horse that can win races here. Be interesting to see what her goal is with this horse. We know Paula loves targeting the KI Cup, but this horse might be going too well. It might win a couple in the city and push himself through the ratings and out of KI Cup contention, but Creek's well worth following from last weekend at Morphettville.
All right, it is race of the daytime, and at Morphettville on Saturday, we're going to look at race 7, a Class 2 over 1,250 metres, and it's a race that has plenty of good chances and a number of horses on the up. So let's kick it off talking about the current race favourite, which is Zuna. She has 2 wins and 2 placings to her name from 5 career starts. She ran second to the talented Shady Thinker last start over 1,200 metres. And we know how good that horse is going, but we also know how good the Stokes-Opperman combination are going, Link, and Zuna's potentially a deserved favourite here.
Yeah, clear top pick for me, and as you said, a race that there's a stack of depth. Yeah, we'll soon find out on Saturday. The Shady Thinker form stacks up. If that horse wins in Sydney, Zuna will probably end up running a lot shorter here in Adelaide. But yeah, there's been a lot to like about her run. She didn't have a lot go right first up, then got the money at her second start, and then was really good last time. So I think good gate going to be very hard to beat.
Now, we just spoke about Paula Trenwith, and a horse you've always had a lot of time for is Ginger Sinner. He rarely runs a bad race, and if you look back to June, he beat Colmar in the winter there, and since returning has form around Mount Niseko, who goes to Flemington on Saturday, and Streetcar Fury, who looks above average.
Yeah, I've been in this horse's camp the last couple of runs. And I look at my tips now, I don't have him in my top four this Saturday, so it's probably his day. But yeah, just needs things to go right, I think, to knock over a field that's got a lot of depth there. So as you said earlier, there's some quality in this, some horses that are going to win plenty of city races. But Ginger Sinner, it just needs things to unfold a little bit in front of it. That didn't quite happen last start, so if it happens on Saturday, it can certainly run a big race.
Now, round two is a horse with a bit of talent as well, and on the quick backup, I think missed the start on the weekend just gone. Alana Livesey's been in the winner's stall a fair bit lately, and a win from this guy wouldn't shock on Saturday.
Yeah, it was not where you would have thought you'd see round two last weekend when he bombed it early and chased pretty hard. I thought his run was really good under the circumstances to get as close as he did. I like him as a horse. I like where he's drawn, and I think he'll run a bit of a race here round two. He's certainly in the mix.
Now, just to highlight how deep this race is, there's 4 last start winners in the field, including Cialo, Murph and Autumn Frost, who smashed his rivals in maiden company at Gawler last start. Do you give any of these a hope?
I give Murph a bit of a shot. I think this horse has got a bit of upside, and was a good win last start. They backed him like he was going to win, and I think he'd be the one that I want to put in. I've got him in for second at the moment, Murph.
And a couple others to look out for. I've got Welcome to the Show, returns to Morphettville after Tyler Donaldson-Aitken's hit and run mission here 3 months ago. Well, I think Zesty Man's got to improve second up after that first run on Gawler Cup Day.
Yeah, Welcome to the Show's the big watch here, I reckon. Second run back from a spell was flashed home first up there at Ballarat, wasn't beaten far. Sistine Tunnel was the winner. I think that horse goes along quite well. As you said, we've seen him come over here and pick off a race a few months ago now, and I think, look, gate 12 probably won't worry him. And, yeah, Welcome to the Show is going to be right in the mix.
All right, mate. Race 7. Hit us with your bets for that race.
Yeah, I'm backing Zuna in this race. I really like this horse. I think it's trending the right way. I've got Murph for second, another horse that's sort of got plenty of upside. Big, I guess, watch on the two. Welcome to the Show. We know that this young trainer, he's not afraid to throw his horses around the traps and can get it done. And round 2 for fourth, the 9, a horse I've got a bit of time for. And if it jumps, I think they'll know he's there for a long way round 2. So I'm 6 to beat 4, 2 and 9 in race 7.
All right, Link, it is best bets time, and I know you've got 2 plays for the weekend on Saturday at Morphettville. Start off with race 1, a benchmark 86 over 12.50.
Yeah, I'm keen on the informed Zoo Purring here for the Stokes-Opperman combination. This horse was a very good last start winner, beating Nikish and Swifty Harriet, are both quite useful gallopers, I think, from the good gate. Zoo Purring can win again for the Stokes stable. And then race 5, the Muffin Man. This is a horse, at the moment, they were betting $4 early, which caught my eye and certainly sparked a bit of interest because I thought it'd open up a lot shorter. This horse was with Charlotte Littlefield, now joined Shane Jackson's stable. If you go back through his record, last year he ran second to Athanatos in a Vobis Gold race at Flemington, then jumped 270 at Caulfield, and they thought enough to go to Queensland for the Derby. So clearly a horse that can stay. I think he's had 2 runs back from a spell that have been quite solid. Last start was in a benchmark 70 race at Geelong, and I think look, Shane Jackson's a very good trainer, and I reckon the Muffin Man can win here with Todd Pannell, drawn a right gate around the Parks, race 5, number 1.
I like it. He was scratched from the races at Flemington yesterday for this, so
it's a very good
look out.
Very good pointer. So, no, very keen on the Muffin Man. $4 was $3.80. I reckon by a jump it's probably $3.20.
So take it now and maybe even just double them up. Zoo Purring into the Muffin Man is race 1 and race 5. Link, you're on fire. Let's keep it rolling. All right, mate, done for another week. Thanks for carrying me through after I'm a little bit rusty after my week off. Once again, thanks to Andy for helping out. I thought he was excellent last week. Was a bit scratchy last year, but I reckon he's taken 12 months just to hone his craft.
I think he knew that the Andy Adams handicap was on the weekend, and he had to
brushed himself up.
Absolutely, good to have you back, mate. As you said, it doesn't slow down this week's racing. We're halfway through Flemington Melbourne Cup week. Let's hope South Australia can get a little bit more of the action over the next coming days. So all the best to anyone with a horse over there, and hopefully we can find everyone a winner.
Totally. And if you want to follow our content, catch us on X, Facebook, Instagram at Dare to Dream. And as of course, always head to daretodream.com.au for all your horse ownership needs here in SA. Link hopefully can find a few winners on the weekend, and as I said, hopefully a few South Australians salute across the border.
And we're looking forward to Sunday when we can put our feet up.
Yeah, totally. Talk to you next week.